Today we're going to walk through a brief overview of the UMD Foundations dashboard. I'm going to show how to navigate the dashboard and access certain charts within the dashboard that display market values, spendable income, available balances, and expenses. So once you log into the dashboard, there's a special group called UMD Testing, which you can see underneath the category. And to the right, you'll see under Dashboard, UMD Foundations Dashboard. If I just double click and open that, it will open up the dashboard. For sake of this training, I'm going to feature the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. So once the dashboard loads, you'll see a layout, and at the top with our other dashboards, you're going to get the parameters. So we have 5 different parameters here. We have USMF, the foundation types of USMF and UMCPF. So what we've done with this dashboard is combine both the USMF and the College Park foundations into one dashboard. The security is also linked to the KFS security. So depending on what security access you have, if you're a CBO, you probably will only see your division here. It will flood it and automatically populate the division and departments. So it's working just similar how the College Park dashboard is working, and the KFS balance dashboards and all of our dashboards where it's linked to the security and it's flooding into the division and department here. So I can change the fiscal years, I can change the periods. It's going to default to the most current fiscal year and the most recent period that we're in, which is currently April. So starting from the top left, and then I'm going to move to the right and then down. The top left, I'm getting a view of the available balances by project type with a fiscal year trend. So if I hover over the lines here, I can see that my operating project type for the 2 foundations that are selected for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, that my ending year spendable income or current year for 2021 is about $2.4 million. If I hover back over to 2020, I can see is about 2.50, and then for 2019 about 2.7. And as I hover over this, I can see that my endowment is almost 1.2, 1.197, and then my grants are about 6,500, miscellaneous 2,300, and then 91,000 in quasi endowments. Moving to the middle of the chart, this is a new chart for our foundations. What we wanted to plot here was looking at endowment market value versus the spendable income allocation. So the spendable income allocation is the amount of money that the foundations are funding you in your budget, and that money can then be spent within the current fiscal year. So if I hover over this, I can see that in 2020 year, my spendable income allocation was 1.6. or my spendable income budget was $1.6 million. My market value was almost $20 million of those endowments. What makes this chart particularly useful and fun is clicking down into a fiscal year. In this example, I'm going to choose 2021. Now I can get a list of all of my projects between the 2 foundations that comprise those market values and the spendable income allocation. I can also sort on it and sort by market value, and I can sort by spendable income, and I can see which are generating the largest spendable income allocation and which have the largest market value with one click. So I can use the drill back to bring me back to that original chart and then choose on another fiscal year if I want. To the top right here, what we wanted to do was to look out and parse out the current versus the prior year spendable income allocations, because it's important, depending on the foundation, the rules surrounding spending prior year income allocation within the current year as soon as possible, and what carry forward allowance they grant based upon a different type of project or the foundation. So these are coming straight from the different foundations. If I click down, I can see what my CY is the current year, PY being prior year, and then in the middle is the $1.6 million spendable income. If I click on this pie, it will drill down and give me a list similar to the one to the left, where I get project name, the current year, the prior year, and the total spendable income, and then the expenses and the remaining. So if I wanted to, I can sort again on any one of these columns, and I'm going to sort on prior year. And when I do that, I can see that my prior year on this account was $97,000, and I've only spent through April $22,809, so I still have 176 remaining. This would be one I'd want to look at because I still have almost $55,000 or $54,000 that I need to spend, or it could be rolled over and then added to the corpus. So that's a neat chart that should be helpful in identifying accounts with prior year spendable income. I should say these are endowments in this, so these are endowment projects only in this pie. And then going down to the bottom, what we have here is we're showing you within the selected fiscal year and period that are chosen at the top, you can see what the available balance is versus the current fiscal year expenses, so the fiscal year chosen expenses. So if I hover over operating, I can see that I have $2.4 million in available fund balance and then $319,000 expenses. If I click on it, it will drill to the middle, and now I get a look of all the different projects with available balance. Again, I can sort easily. I can sort by expenses. If I choose another project type here, I can see my expenses building up to that available balance. I can click on that and get a list of projects here. I can sort by available balance, expenses year to date. Going back to operating, if I click into this and I wanted to look at some of my operating accounts here, let's take a look at this Hall research project. If I drill down into this, you should be familiar with it. It's the same layout as currently available in the UMCPF dashboard. I can see all of my revenues, transfers, and expenses, and my available balance moving with those revenues, expenses, and transfers by period within the chosen fiscal year. So if I click again, I will drill down and it will give me a transaction category grouping of revenues, expenses, and transfers if there are any, and I can see my total amount here. So if I just collapse these back and then go look, I see $125,000 in expenses. I can expand them all. Now I get a listing of all the transactions that are available on that account. And then when I see this button, I can click on it and do an export chart data, and I can get all of my transactions in the CSV file as shown there. So the final click that we have here is a drill down that links to Blackbaud, and the Blackbaud security is defined and controlled by each one of the foundations. But if I go ahead and click on that drill down and then log in, it's going to bring me into that Hall research project for the foundation type. So I can see in the top right hand corner that I'm in the College Park Foundation. Here's Hall research, and then here's the actual Blackbaud UMCPF account. So I can navigate back to the dashboard and then drill all the way back up, or just click on this operating to overwrite this chart here. And if I wanted to, I can actually look for a specific a USMF account. And the way I can tell it's USMF is it has a leading 01 in front of it, 01 dash. So if I click on this, I can now look at a USMF account very easily, expanding it, and then click on the transaction. So now, instead of being brought into College Park, I should actually be brought into the System Foundation once this loads, and be able to get into the details here if I want to do some more research in the application itself. So it does take a minute to load here. So this is this is the Dean's office. Okay, it's still loading. Yeah, so now I'm brought in, and now you can see at the top here it has the University System of Maryland Foundation. So going back to the dashboard, the last piece that we have, I'll just overwrite this so it looks like it just opened, is we have groupings of expenditures by the what we would refer to as object codes, and these are actually account descriptions for each one of the foundations. It groups what the expenses are coming in. So I can look at this specific one and see that the College of Agriculture's in this fiscal year has had about 203,000, and UMS is the system foundation in transfer scholarships and fellowships. So if I click on this, it'll give me a list of all the projects that comprise those totals for that specific expense type. And that's it. That's a quick overview, or as quick as possible overview of the dashboard functionality. If you have any questions, please contact us at dashboards@umd.edu. Thanks.